Hey everyone, it's Jeremy from e-commerce agency, and today I want to talk to you about Facebook ads. Facebook ads is by far the most popular platform to advertise on, and with that, so many of us are not using it properly or to its full potential. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about what you're potentially doing wrong with your Facebook ads and how to improve it. Pretty much, I'm going to tell you why your Facebook ads suck. So the first topic that I want to talk about is interest targeting. One issue that I see a lot of people have with the interest that they target is that the targeting is far too basic. The more basic interest you're targeting, the more competition that you have. The more competition that you have, the more expensive it will get to show your ad to the specified audience that you want. And with this, your ad will be shown to less people and your hard-earned money will not be used to its full potential. A way to target your intended demographic without the highly competitive environment is to use your knowledge of your target demographic and pivot your interest targeting to reach the specific demographic rather than the niche that you're selling to. So that might sound kind of confusing, so here's an example. Let's say you're selling kids toys. You've got 100 sales and you notice that the majority of your main demographic, the people that are purchasing your product, are grandparents buying toys for their grandkids. So instead of targeting the obvious interests in the toy niche, such as toys, Fisher-Price, or Hasbro, let's get really specific with the data that we collected and target interests that are less competitive to get lower CPMs and to be more relevant to the audience we want to reach. Since we know the demographic that we want to reach, we can use hyper-targeted interests such as retirement, old age, pension, or even targeting activities that older people do, such as interests like pickleball, bingo, or knitting. This really helps differentiate your targeting from your competition to show your ad to more people that are within your target demographic. So once you have a little bit of data to pinpoint what demographics is converting the best for your ads, use this data with your interest targeting to maximize your budget to hit that new pocket of interests that are much less competitive. Another reason why your Facebook ads suck is because you're not capitalizing on your winning interests. If you get an interest that gets more than 10 sales, I would consider it a winning audience. Now, what you would usually do is go to that ad set with that interest and click suggestions for inspiration. But by doing this, you're not utilizing Facebook's gold mine of data. The best way to capitalize on a winning interest is to take advantage of Facebook's powerful database and find interest with audience that are highly similar to it. We can do this with Facebook Audience Insights. With Facebook Audience Insights, you can put your winning interests or your winning audience into the search bar, go to page likes, and look at similar pages with high relevance or affinity to the audience that you have provided. So for example, if your winning audience was Fisher-Price, you can type Fisher-Price into the Facebook Audience Insights, and it will generate other pages that have audiences similar to Fisher-Price. So by using these pages that are provided, it is highly likely that these audiences will also convert since they're so similar to your winning audience already. These are some great audiences to use as you horizontally scale to get enough data to launch your first lookalikes. So now let's hop into my computer and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So right now we're in Facebook Audience Insights. So all you would do if the winning audience was Fisher-Price, just type it in just like this, click Fisher-Price, and then go to this page likes tab. And then I would just look at the pages here. So as you can see, of course, Fisher-Price is really similar to Fisher-Price. That makes a lot of sense. And then Bye Bye Baby, I would check that out in Facebook's Ads Manager. Not all of these guys, not all of these pages are going to show up in interest, but a lot of them will. So Pampers, I know for a fact that is one of the interests that does show up. Babies R Us will show up. Huggies, For Moms, maybe. Bye Bye Baby, maybe. So what I would do, I would type all of these interests, maybe the top 5. I would type those into the interest targeting section, the detail targeting section in Ads Manager, and see if they show up, even if the interest is super small. So I've had, when I do this Facebook Audience Insights technique or strategy, I've had audiences that show up here that, end up being maybe 500,000 or 200,000 audience size in Facebook ads or ads manager, but I would still use it. So what I would do with that at that point, I would select detailed targeting expansion so that Facebook would find other users on Facebook that are similar to the audience, and that has worked really well as well. So yeah, definitely try out these interests that are similar to your winning audiences, and usually they will perform really, really well. Too many times I've seen people dabble way too much with their Facebook ads. Trust me, I know those ones as well. When you catch yourself checking your ads manager every 10 minutes, refreshing the results and hoping for a click, add to cart, or sale. So trust me, I've been there, and not only does it drive you insane, it makes you want to change your ads and ad sets prematurely. A good rule of thumb is to always let your ads run for at least 48 hours, but 72 hours at best. I would only make changes at 48 hours if you see horrible performance, but will usually let them run for 72 hours to give your ads a chance to make sales. You have to remember, Facebook ads runs off a machine learning algorithm. Each time someone clicks your ad and doesn't purchase, the machine learning algorithm will take that into consideration and try to find another buyer. So, if you don't let the algorithm do its work, you're suffocating the performance of your campaign without giving it a chance to find a converting audience. So be patient. I know it's hard, but give your campaign some breathing room and let it optimize. When it comes to Facebook ads, it doesn't matter if you have the newest, best, most successful testing strategy or the most precise way to kill and scale your ad sets. If you don't have a good creative, your ads will not be successful. I find way too many people put all their time and energy into advertising strategies, targeting the perfect audience, and finding the optimal budget to run at. While that does play a significant role in the success of your ad campaigns, they don't matter if your creative doesn't pique the interest of your audience. If your creative doesn't drive enough traffic to your store, given the amount of money you spend, no Facebook ad strategy is going to save you, and no Facebook ad strategy is going to make your ads successful. Now, I'm not going to get into how to make a good creative in this video right now, since this video is about Facebook ads, but if you'd like us to make a video on how to do so, please let us know in the comments below. One strategy that we use to increase chances of launching a winning creative is to implement a creative testing strategy. This ensures that the creative you're putting out is the most optimized one you can come up with. I see too many people only testing one creative in their Facebook ads. The issue with only using one creative is that the first creative you make has really low chances of performing to the level you need it to in order to be successful. Implementing a testing strategy and feeding Facebook more options to work with and using the machine learning algorithm, you'll give yourself higher chances of showing a converting creative to your audience. So with that being said, there are two different testing strategies I use. One is more cost effective and one is more calculated but requires a little bit more budget. So if budget is an issue, I would use the cost effective strategy. For the cost effective strategy, all you have to do is create 3 videos, each with a different scroll stopper. The reason I would only change the scroll stopper and not the entire video is because that is what's going to make the biggest impact on the performance of your ads. If you can hook them in with the first 3 seconds of your ad, you can gain their interest and get their click. So once you have your 3 videos with the different scroll stoppers, I would put them inside each ad set you're running. As your campaign continues to run, one creative will outperform the other 2 in terms of sales. Once you get about 50 sales, a clear winner should emerge. And if there isn't a clear winner, just keep running the ads until there is one. So now, let's hop into my computer and go over how to run this testing campaign. So for the cost-effective approach to the creative testing, you just create a campaign just like normal when you're doing interest testing. And the only difference that you'll do is duplicate the ads 3 times into your testing campaign. I'll just run through and create an ad set or a campaign just like I would be doing interest testing. So I would call it interest testing, and then I test my interest with ad set budget because I just feel like there's more control with ad set budget. When you turn anything off or raise budgets or scale horizontally in a CBO campaign, there's chances that the optimization could be ruined, and all your results could just be thrown out the window, and your results will get throttled. So that's why I like to use ad set budget. I go conversions, And then ad set name, I don't know what interest. I usually call the ad set the interest. Creative one. So usually I call the ad set the interest, but I don't know yet, so I'm just going to put in a placeholder. The ad name, I'm going to call it creative one. Creative one of 3. So the way that I would do this, I wouldn't name it yet. Conversion event, I would go purchase. I'll go $10 a day. Start the next day. Location, let's just say we're going to USA. Only get the high quality traffic for your pixel. The gender, we go all. Exclude AliExpress. And drop shipping. Let's just say toys. Take that on my business. So here I would duplicate creative one twice. Change the name to creative 2. Change the other one to the creative 3. And the only difference between these 3 creators is just going to be the video. So that's how you make 3 different ads under one ad set. All you do is do everything like normal and then just duplicate one of the ads twice. And then bam, you have 3 ads under an ad set. So that's how you do the testing for the cost-effective strategy. One thing I will tell you guys to do, just a little trick, is that when you have a creative underneath an ad set, if I were just to duplicate this, you know, however many times I want to test however many interests that I want to test, when I duplicate it like this, because the ad setup is in create ad, the ad ID isn't going to stay the same and the social proof won't duplicate. So what you have to do is press publish. I don't know if it's going to let me publish, but yeah, it's a new ad account. So I would press publish, press use existing posts, and at that point you're going to be using an ad ID instead of using create ad. And that way, once you duplicate your ad set, you're going to be duplicating the ad ID as well, so that your social proof will duplicate in each ad set that you create. So just a little tip for you guys so that your social proof goes across all of your ad sets. So now that we've gone over the cost-effective creative testing approach, let's go over the more calculated approach. I like to split test the most crucial components of the creative, such as video, headline, thumbnail, and ad copy. This is a little bit more expensive since you'll be running a campaign for the sole purpose of testing, whereas a cost-effective strategy, you'd be going right into the interest testing. But I do believe that this strategy will yield better results, which is why, if you do have the budget, I would suggest utilizing this strategy. So for this particular testing strategy, I would create at least 3 different video ads with varying scroll stoppers, 3 different ad copies. Now you can either change the entire copy or just change the headline of each one and keep the body the same, 3 different headlines and 3 thumbnails. Now you can always test more quantities of these ad creative components, but keep in mind the more variables that you test, the more money you're going to have to spend. So the most calculated way that I like to test is to conduct a split test for each ad component. So if that sounds kind of confusing, let me hop into my computer and show you what I'm talking about. In order to test the 4 main components of your ad creative, I created a sort of testing structure to visually represent what we're going to do in Facebook ads. So every single column that you see here is going to be an ad set. So this first ad set is going to include video A, ad copy A, headline A, and thumbnail A. The second ad set is going to include video B, ad copy A, headline A, and thumbnail A. As you can see, when we're conducting the video test, all the other variables stay the same. We're only changing the video so that we can isolate one variable at a time and properly see, okay, which video is the best without any other outside influences from ad copy, headline, or thumbnail. The same goes with testing the ad copy. We're only going to change ad copy A, B to ad copy A, B, and C, and everything else stays the same. And the same goes for headline test and thumbnail test. I'm not sure if you noticed, but every single first column, AAA, is just 4 A's. So what we can do is gray out the first column, and instead of testing 12 different ad sets, we'll just test 9 instead. And this will save us roughly $30 in our testing campaign. So now what I'll do is hop into the ads manager and I'll show you how to set this up. Alright, so let's create the testing campaign. So I'm just going to call it creative testing, campaign objective, conversions. So let's look at our testing structure. So the first ad set we're going to make is going to be testing video A. So I'm going to call this ad set video A. Alright, so let's customize the ad set now. So the conversion event location website, like always, the conversion event, it's going to be a little different. I'm going to use initiate checkout. The reason why I use initiate checkout is because it's going to get you more traffic at a cheaper price. Now you might ask, why not just use PPE? That's going to get you the cheapest traffic, and you're going to spend as little as possible when you're testing. But with PPE, you're only getting people that want to like, comment, or share your ad. That type of person, you don't want to have your pixel collect that data, because once you go into interest testing and once you want to try to make sales, that might affect the performance of your campaign. With initiate checkout, yes, you're going to get cheaper traffic, but at the same time, initiate checkout is so close to the purchase. So you're only one step away from the purchase. So initiate checkout, the beauty of initiate checkout when you're running a testing campaign is that it rides the line perfectly between getting you traffic for a lower price, but also getting somewhat high quality traffic, so that when you go into your interest testing or when you're trying to make sales later on, it's not going to have a negative effect on your pixel. So moving on, we're not going to use dynamic creative. We're not going to use offer. For the daily budget, we're going to set it to 30. Don't be alarmed here, we're not spending $30 on each ad set. I just put it to 30 so that it spends, it'll get to 1,000 impressions a little bit quicker. And I'm going to set an automated rule so you don't have to look at your ad set every hour or every 5 minutes to make sure it doesn't go over 1,000. We're going to set an automated rule so that when it does hit 1,000, it's going to turn off automatically. Hey guys, just wanted to interrupt real quick. When I was editing the video, I realized that I didn't explain why I turned off my ad sets at 1,000 impressions. So the reason why I do that is because what I noticed from numerous tests that I've done, once the impressions hit around 800, I see consistent results from the click-through rate. The results leading up to from 0 to 800 impressions, I see the CTR fluctuating a ton. So the reason why I turn the ad sets off at 1,000 impressions is just to be on the safe side, and it's also at a point where I can see the results and I'm sure that they're going to stay consistent, and that's when I'm going to get my best data. So that's why I turn off my ad sets only once they hit 1,000 impressions. But anyways, back to the video. Start date, we'll just go the next day, 12 a.m. Location, we'll just keep it to United States. We want that high quality traffic. Since most of our buyers are going to be from the United States, I want the data that we're getting for the most optimal creative to be gathered from the United States as well. The age, 18 to 65 plus. The gender, I would just leave it the same unless your product is heavily specified to a certain gender. Detail targeting, this really doesn't matter. You just need to have it somewhat relevant to your product. So if it's a beauty product, do Sephora, do L'Oreal, do anything. Since in this pretend scenario we're testing a toy, I'm literally just going to type in toys and click that. Like always, exclude AliExpress, exclude dropshipping, untick detail targeting expansion. So for placements, normally when I'm trying to make sales, always automatic placements. You want to utilize the machine learning algorithm. Facebook will pick which placement is going to convert the best for you. But since we're testing creatives and we want to minimize as many variables as possible, we're going to do manual placements. So when we're testing videos, the only variable we want to test or change is the video. We want to keep everything else this exact same, and that's why we're only going to launch our creative on Facebook newsfeed. So just untick everything, and that's it for the ad set. For the ad, just select video A, and then, so since we're doing this first one, ad copy A, headline A, thumbnail A. For the next one, you would do video B, and then keep everything else the same. For the next one, just change it to video C, and keep everything else the same. So now I'm just going to make all the other testing ad sets. Okay, so now that I've created all of the testing ad sets, now I'm going to set the rule so that once it hits 1,000 impressions, it'll turn off automatically. So what I did is select every single ad set in the campaign and create a new rule. The rule name is going to be, you can name it anything, to be honest. Let me just go 1,000 impressions, turn off, apply rule 9 ad sets. Action, turn off ad sets. The condition is going to be when the impressions is greater than 1,000. Yeah, so there's no equal to option. So yeah, when impressions are greater than 1,000, it's going to turn off. Everything else you can stay the same. You don't have to email me, it's okay. And then just create it. Boom. Everything is set. Once it hits 1,000 impressions, it's going to turn off. So what I would do now is, you press review and publish and let it go. Once it turns off, after a day, after 2 days, probably just after a day, because our budget is $30, I would just look at CTR to determine which ad did the best. Yes, you could look at purchases, but and add to carts and initiate checkouts, but at that point, you're just not going to get enough data or any data at all to determine which creative did the best. So I would just look at CTR. The whole point of your ad is to just get that click anyways. So just look at CTR. So let's say we want to figure out which video did the best. I would filter by selection and look at CTR. And whichever one has the highest CTR, that's the video we're going to use for our optimized creative in our interest testing campaign. So now we want to look at ad copy. So we select ad copy C, ad copy B, and then ad copy A is in here as well. So again, we'll filter by selection. I don't think it's filtering because it's still a draft, but anyways, you just look at CTR. Again, whichever one has the highest CTR, that's the one we're going to use for our interest testing. So we do that for headline, we do that for thumbnail as well. And then once we have that data, let's say video A1, ad copy B1, headline C1, and thumbnail A1, I'll just, highlight it for a visual representation. And then when we create our interest testing campaign and we create the ad for that, we're going to use video A, ad copy B, headline C, and thumbnail A. So that was just a little walkthrough of how to do creative testing, and with this strategy you're going to come up with the best combination you could have come up with given the videos, ad copies, headlines, and thumbnails that you created. And this gives you the best chance of having that winning creative to make that winning product and get those sales. So the last tip that I'm going to end off with is that the more data, the better. There's a reason why we do auto placements, there's a reason why we test multiple creatives, and there's a reason why CBO is used for scaling. The more data Facebook has, the better it's going to perform. And our job as advertisers is to provide as much data as possible and tweak our settings to give Facebook as many data points to optimize and find our converting customers. With auto placements, you give Facebook a ton of different options to choose from so it can optimize which placement is the best to convert in. With multiple creatives, it's the same thing. You let Facebook choose for you. Remember, always trust your data over opinions. When we do our creative testing, we're trusting Facebook's data that they gathered from our customers rather than just trusting our own opinions of, oh, you know what, this ad copy is the best, this video is the best. Instead of doing that, we listen to the data and choose that way. And with CBO, you let Facebook choose which ad sets to allocate the budget to. With CBO, you see better results on the campaign overall because, again, you're using Facebook's machine learning algorithm. This algorithm is getting better and better, and we need to use that to our advantage in every aspect of our Facebook ads. So with that being said, that leads me to the end of this video. I hope that everyone that made it this far, first of all, I want to thank you guys for making it this far. And if you made it this far, I hope you got some sort of value from what we talked about today. So if you did, it would really help if you dropped a like, subscribed if you aren't already, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions whatsoever. With that being said, thank you for watching today's video, and I'll see you guys next time.